Bitter criticism. Today, not so critic. Not so critic, but diplomat, kind of. We will see. We will see what happens. We have a surprise tonight. Well, tonight we have a completely different text. We are going to Le Monde Diplomatique in English. Can you imagine that? That you won't imagine that, isn't it? Well, Le Monde Diplomatique. This was a kind of suggestion by some teacher. What I how to say it? I like it. I don't remember the exactly word. I completely forgot now. I thanks, like, but there's another word for thanks. I forgot. So thank you, teacher, for your suggestion, and I will read this a lot of news. But you know what I just realized about Le Monde Diplomatique, which sometimes I share it on news on social media, but I actually never read it. And I don't know, Le Monde Diplomatique in Portuguese or Le Monde Diplomatique in Spanish. Yeah, why not? I just share it, and I'm grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful for the suggestion. But is this, if this not work, or if work but we got tired from this globalist? I guess this is also globalist, you know. It's like liberal. It's left wing, but I guess it's just like El País. But I guess Le Monde Diplomatique is not so bad as people says about El País. Anyway, we're gonna read this, and we have Russia Today. As always, I will tell you, I am kind of vicious on Russia Today. I'm a junkie of Russia Today. I need to read it because it's so ironic, you know. I love the Russian ironies. Anyway, gonna read Le Monde Diplomatique right now. In Peru, they don't do compromise. Some protests are more legitimate than others. This is for the Peruvian chaos, I guess. Is the best way to describe it. This is a chaos in Peru, I guess. Still a chaos, isn't it? But it's a neighbor country, but I guess any Chilean thinks about Peru. A comparison of Venezuela and Peru and their recent histories of civil strife reveals that not all demonstrators are equal in the eyes of the media or the international community. By Marian Laribi. I like it. Some protests are more legitimate than others. It says that people hate Venezuela, but people don't hate Peru. What's the point, isn't it? What, we have a really sad photo here from protesters about dead people in all this. It's a very beautiful protest, very beautiful posters, banners, beautiful banners. Go and check it out, these beautiful banners. Anyway, beautiful and sad. Artists protest against the government of Peruvian President Dina Boluarte Barranco Lima, 4 February 2023. Ernesto Benavides, AFP Getty Image, I guess. 180 people died in Venezuela when protests. 108. when protests against Nicolás Maduro presidency were put down in 2014 and 2017. In Peru, since last December, security forces have killed at least 60 protesters and wounded 1,800 during demonstrations against President Dina Boluarte. Yet media and international community reactions have been very different. Backing for Boluarte and hardly any mention of repression in Peru contrasts with the condemnation of Maduro and support for Venezuelan protesters. Well, so far I must tell you, this is just like Russia today. You know, there's no problem with Russia. There's no problem with, say, Vladimir Putin or Russia. You know, there's no problem with that. Russia today is excellent journalism. Anyway, in Peru, Pedro Castillo and an unknown rural primary school teacher beat Keiko Fujimori, daughter of the dictator Alberto Fujimori, 1990-2000 in the June 2021 presidential election. Well, Fujimori was 10 years in the office. That is impressive for Peru, isn't it? 10 years. 1990, 2000. Matt Kennard, co-founder of the investigative journalism website Declassified UK, warned that if Castillo wins in Peru, he and his movement needs to be prepared for a serious backlash from the oligarchy backed by their patrons in Washington. Peru has huge deposits of copper and gold that the West is used to getting out of the ground on their terms. They don't do compromise. Well, what I do know about Peru is that they have a very bad constitution where you can impeach the president for immoral accusations, immorality. There's some article in the constitution that you can say the president is immoral, and that's what happens with Pedro Castillo and so many others. And well, Peru is a sad country because it's so undeveloped, maybe more undeveloped than Chile itself, I guess. Anyway, after 2 attempts to impeach him, the first only 4 months after his inauguration, and 4 cabinets and 78 ministers, Castillo has had his back to the wall on 7th December 2022, said he had decided to declare a state of emergency with a view to re-establishing the rule of law and democracy by temporarily dissolving Congress and calling for the election of a new constituent assembly within 9 months. Less than 2 hours later, Congress removed him from the office on the grounds of permanent moral incapacity. See, I'm telling this. This is the Peruvian constitution. Permanent moral incapacity. Anyway, and he was arrested by his own bodyguards and imprisoned. Vice President Dina Boluarte took power. By nightfall, the United States was already referring to Castillo as former president. The next day, it commended the authorities for assuring democratic stability and said it will continue to support Peru under the unity government Boluarte had pledged to form. The European Union too. Well, it was a good article, very short, but I guess we cannot read everything. Yeah. This this is just a section from from the whole article, and we don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it worth to. Well, of course, if I win the lottery, I will maybe I will sign for. Maybe not, because if you have a magazine or a journal like Le Monde Diplomatique, you will have to read it. And I don't know, if I won the lottery, maybe I will have better things to do, or better things to read. I will try to find a complete article that they are few, but they are. Look, we have an article from Bourdieu, and it's a pretty extensive. Well, it's a pretty extensive article, but this is fine. It works for my teacher. Yeah, my teacher likes Bourdieu. I don't really know much about Bourdieu. I just know the name is a famous name in social science, but I don't know. Bourdieu is like, and not just my teacher, but Bourdieu is very quoted for in this Stuart Hall. I was reading a Stuart Hall book, and it's very quoted there, this Bourdieu. I'm gonna read now, look. The media, the intelligentsia, and Pierre Bourdieu. It's not it's an article about Pierre Bourdieu. The media have begun to value criticism, which now appears in newspapers and on radio and television, generally in a fairly harmless form. Yeah, this is we also are in the media. Yeah, criticism. Anyway, it allows them to be seems as final arbiter of all debates, even those that could expose their toxicity. By refusing the terms of so-called media intellectuals, Pierre Bourdieu risked criticism both by them and the newspapers that gave them authority. This is by Jacques Bouvier. Anyway, the media, the intelligentsia, and Pierre Bourdieu. Still from La Sociologie et son sport de combat by Pierre Charles. Well, sociology, and I will tell you that sociology and maybe all academia is a sport of the combat. Maybe anyone who writes anything is constantly defending a thesis and fighting. Well, I'm gonna read now. Each new day gives us fresh opportunity to measure the enormous void left behind by Pierre Bourdieu's death. We can also see the extent to which the figure of the critical intellectual Bourdieu was probably its last great representative in France has become obsolete. It is being replaced by something that I think Jean-Claude Milner describes quite well is in this pamphlet. Existe-t-il une vie intellectuelle in France? Does France have an intellectual life? The notable first call to serve was followed by a second one. Stop offending us with too much evidence of excessive knowledge and unpleasant insights. It is not enough to serve, one must also be humble. Some rhetoricians from the Collège de France to the journal appointed themselves as the theorists of this humility. Hence today's intellectual, cowardly before the strong, hard or on the weak, are aimlessly ambitious, ignorant, though pedantic, imprecise despite a punctilious style. I guess this article is very old. Well, I'm gonna try to find now. And now I don't know from where is this article, because the site is a pay site. Is like so many others, like I don't know, New York Times, for example. I guess New York Times is not free. Science magazine also is not free. I guess I will look. This article is from 2006. This is pretty old, I guess. It's too much old. I guess I'm not gonna read this, but anyway. And I don't like, I don't like these articles about the academy itself. It's like, I don't know, they have no content. It's just about hate, it's just hate. It's just fight on hate. It's not, I don't know. I'm not sure about academy. There's no. It's pure hate. There's no content there. I guess there are good subjects to fight for, like I don't know. I don't know. Violence, violence, social violence. That's legitimate, that's legit. But and you to understand anything about violence and neo-fascism, anything, you should read, and I guess that will be fine. But this try to belong to academy and fight another academics is worthless, is meaningless. We have more articles, but they all too old. 2006, can you imagine that? What people were thinking about in 2006? Well, it's what the site gives us free. That's why I prefer to read Russia Today. Maybe we're gonna read. We'll try to read the last one. On April 6th. Look, this article is from 11 July 2022. It's not so old. It's like 1 year old. Almost 1 year from now. Monday. This is I guess it's the name of the. No, it's not the name. It's just the day. Anyway, new documents published as part of the Uber Files investigation revealed the extent of taxi apps lobbying. Published in Le Monde on Thursday, they contradict the mediagenic liberal economist Nicolas Bouzou's testimony to the Assemblée Nationale. On 6 April, Bouzou denied that the study he conducted for the company in 2015 was a form of lobbying. Past revelations in the Uber files include emails and texts sent over 5 years and detailed secretive interactions between Uber executives and public officials in the Obama administration, UK Conservative Party and European Commission, among others, during a period of huge growth for the Silicon Valley firm. As Serge Halimi pointed out, there is a revolving door between Silicon Valley and the corridors of political power. I missed the news here. Sorry. Well, I don't know if I'm gonna find it again. Just 1 second. But this is interesting. The giratory stuff. It's a good thing to know, the CEOs and the giratory door. Well, it's not so bad, but it's not free. And Russia Today, Russia Today is making like they are making like a campaign, isn't it? So the Russian campaign, I guess, is legitimate in all manners. Like they have quality, they have an ethical reason to fight, So I guess the right thing is to read Russia Today in English, because the Spanish version is not so good, I guess. UK Conservative Party and European Commission, among others, during a period of huge growth of the Silicon Valley firm. As Sergei Halimi pointed out, there is a revolving door between Silicon Valley and the corridors of political power. Former European Digital Agenda Commissioner Neelie Kroes from the Netherlands was recruited by Uber as a lobbyist, shriekingly during his tenure as economy minister under François Hollande. Emmanuel Macron indeed agreed to make legal conditions in France favorable to Uber. Since 2020, Uber drivers are considered employees in France, though, as Alain Soupiot wrote in 2018, there has a blurring of the lines between independent self-employment and dependent self-employment, with workers bound by ties of fealty that reduce their autonomy to varying extents. And then we have a headline that says, "A labor code for the first 1 century." Well, this article is free, but they only give us things that are not interesting anymore. Nowadays, the interesting stuff is what happened in Taiwan, what's happening in Ukraine. That is more interesting. And they, I guess, I don't know if they know. I don't know. No, I guess, I don't know. Well, I don't like it. They are alienated, I guess, all this stuff of diplomacy. This is not good diplomacy, I guess. I'll try to, I guess, Pepe Escobar is better, You can even get in touch with Pepe Escobar on, he have a Telegram channel, and there he publishes a lot of news. And look, this is article, I don't know from when it is, and Le Monde Diplomatique in English. All this is Le Monde Diplomatique in English, that they is like alienated because this news are kind of, they are not relevant. They not discuss what's happening in any important place, like Russia, I don't know, the Ukraine war, the United States, nothing. Look, but this is an interesting news. In Iraq, as in Syria, internal tensions rise. Kurdish discontents are growing. The Kurds want international support for fighting against Saddam Hussein and the ISIS, but turning autonomy into independence remains out of reach as external threats and internal divisions multiply. By Viken Sheretian. Kurdish discontent. Yeah, this is not the most important thing nowadays. Maybe this is more important. Look. Kinmen Islands, a grenade in the jaw of tiger. Former garrison island that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. which island is that? The Kinmen Islands. I don't know what that. Taiwan's tiny Kinmen Islands want to be on good terms with mainland China as well as Taipei. Are they a potential flashpoint for conflict or a way for the People's Republic to exert influence on Taiwan? By Alexandre Gandil. Kinmen Islands, a grenade in the jaws of a tiger. And we have a photo of the islands with a Taipei flag, which is horrible. Even Chilean flag is more beautiful than Taiwanese flag. Defensive, a Taiwanese military outpost on Shiyu Islet. Xiong pass anti-landing spikes along Liu Island in the Kinmen Islands. August 10, 2022. On this September 1st last year, in the wake of the tensions created by the U.S. House of Representatives, Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit on Taipei in early August, a Chinese drone was shot down for the first time over Taiwanese territory. It was not downed over the island of Taiwan itself, but on the other side of the Taiwan Strait over Kinmen, a small group of islands that is encircled by the Chinese coastline, sometimes known in the West as Quemoy. Kinmen is on the face of it insignificant. It is no bigger than Liechtenstein and has a population scarcely larger than Folkestones in the UK. There are 12 islands in the group, only 2 of which, Kinmen Island proper, 134 kilometers, and Leiyu Island, 13 kilometers, also known as Lesser Kinmen Island, have permanent civilian population estimated between 50,000 and 60,000. Nevertheless, it continues to feel the tension created by its geographical location and its political affiliation, itself the result of a participation of China concretized in early 1950s. Anyway, I guess this is nice, but it's not the full article. And there's better news on CGTN. You want to know anything about China, you better read CGTN and Russia Today itself. Anyway, I'm done. I'm done with Le Monde Diplomatique. I guess is this forever. I'm sorry. I like my teacher, I'm not judging her because of what he reads, but honestly, I'm telling you that, well, maybe we have here a good, interesting news from technology, I guess. I don't know. We have artificial intelligence. This is a fully article, looks like. This is about China. Look, Beijing's national priority faces strong headwinds. China's race to become global AI superpower. China wants to be world leader in artificial intelligence by the end of the decade, but US trade sanctions affecting technology imports and the brain drain of the best engineers mean it won't be easy. By Gabriel Shaw. China's race to become global AI superpower. That maybe is good news, and the article is full, but it's not dynamic, This is not it's not a dynamic channel, I guess. Because the articles are so, the articles are too specific, It's like they are avoiding the main subjects, you know. That's the impression I have. They like they know that they are more important news, but they want to be special, you know. They want to be mysterious, and they made little articles about little things, about details, and everything is politics, you know. Why they are doing this article? Because they recognize that China will be the great superpower. And why not to read CGTN? Is the Chinese newspaper, you know. This is a French newspaper. Yeah, that's right, that's fine, but anyway, why not to read CGTN? They have plenty of articles about technology too, and it's free, you know. I don't know. Of course, it's a communist, Chinese communist newsletter, and it's awful. There's no freedom there, but it's China, you know. Let's read about China in Le Monde Diplomatique, and let's see if China is so terrible. In October of 2017, the State Council of the People's Republics of China, PRC, the country's chief administrative authority, designated artificial intelligence as a national priority, stating its ambition to become the world's premier artificial intelligence innovation center by 2030. The stakes are high since Chinese AI has medical, industrial, and transport applications, particularly in autonomous vehicles, and it's potentially a major driver of this country's growth. Beyond mere expressions of political will, China has undoubted advantage. Chinese consumers are the world's biggest users of smartphones to pay for goods and services, voice recognition software, and virtual assistants. The Chinese public have widely accepted that robots plug labor shortages in hotels, hospitals, and banks. It's not uncommon to encounter delivery or hotel reception robots. They are also used in construction, mining, and even disaster relief. You know, China looks lots better than Chile. I will tell you. You go to a bank here in Chile and nothing works. Nothing works. I don't know. Nothing works. The banking system doesn't work here. That's the truth. You have no attention, you know, any service. You want to know anything about light, about gas, about anything. You will have a WhatsApp robot, and the robot does nothing, you know. You are so lost here in the global south, you know. With 800 million smartphone users out of a population of 1.41 billion in 2021, China generates a vast amount of digital information, which is widely accessible due to regulations which, while they protect consumer data, are often relaxed in cases of national interest. In the field of health, for example, there are special regulatory regimes for biotechnology, bioengineering, and biopharmaceuticals to encourage collaboration between companies, researchers, and local authorities. And this close association attracts investors. Several major biotech breakthroughs have resulted, such as automatic natural language processing and machine learning to collect and analyze medical data to predict clinical trials outcomes and optimize the design of clinical studies. China is a headline. China is an undisputed champion in artificial intelligence research papers, far surpassing the US in both quantity and quality. Nikkei Asia. This is another article. This is short news. China also has a large pool of skilled workers. About 1.4 million engineers qualify annually, 6 times as many as in the US. At least a third of them in AE. A third. As the Japanese business daily Nikkei Asia noted, China is the undisputed champion in artificial intelligence research papers, far surpassing the US in both quality and quantity and quality. Tencent, Alibaba, and Huawei are now among the top 10 companies in the world producing this type of output. This research sometimes produces real-world applications that improve on existing global models. This is true of the mobile video sharing app TikTok. See clock ticking for TikTok in this issue, but also of the cloud computing division of Alibaba, a leading e-commerce company. Alibaba's customer service chatbots and personalized teaching tools in education are being used to customize communication at a scale with each individual users according to their needs. Alibaba's city brain software system has improved traffic flow so much that Hangzhou population, 6.97 million, has gone from 5th to 57th in the list of the world's most congested cities. So this is good, I guess. The system monitors congestion points and automatically adjusts traffic lights, and optimization that proved especially useful for ambulances during the COVID crisis as lockdown was in place, unblocking certain parts of the city whilst others were still congested with traffic. Yeah, the Le Monde Diplomatique is a left-wing magazine after all. This not, I guess, Le Pen, Catherine Le Pen don't support Le Monde Diplomatique anyway. Well, I will leave here the Le Monde Diplomatique. I will not keep reading because France is a NATO country. No, not. It's because of all these pay stuff, you know. I can't pay for Le Monde Diplomatique, and Russia Today is free. Russia Today and CGTN, and I'm gonna read some Russia Today right now. And that was all. And yeah, this was great. I completely forgot about Le Monde Diplomatique for long years, I guess. But anyway, when you know why I share things like El País or Le Monde Diplomatique, because they suggest on my social media, and there was like the page is like they put this news on my timeline, and I see it and I share it, but never read it. Anyway, I'm just like that. I just share whatever I see. Sponsored news. A lot of sponsored news from things I never asked for. Like I was sharing this an Indian channel that I don't really support by any way. Well, we have some Russia Today news here to make our to be happy, you know. A couple of Russia Today news a day keep the doctor away. I just invented that. Yeah. And G7 members seek to push Moscow out of nuclear energy market. the UK, US, Canada, Japan, and France. And says the UK, US, Canada, Japan, and France have announced an agreement to reduce their dependence on Russian nuclear supply chains. And we have a photo here, a Russian national flag and flags with the logo of Rosatom floaters at the construction site of a cooling tower at the Krums 2 nuclear power plant near the village of Makarovka outside Kurchatov, Kursk region, Russia. This is from Sputnik, Maxim Blinov. I'm gonna read Sputnik too. That's what happens when you read some Le Monde Diplomatique. I'm sorry, teacher. I'm going to read Sputnik, yeah, because they say the name of the photograph, I guess, Maxim Blinov. Anyway, and I guess it's free because Russia is under sanction. They are fighting, and we are fighting with them as partners, as allies with Russia. Anyway, five members of this. And you know, Chilean media will say that Russia is a Trotskyist country, but it's not. It's just a victim of imperialism, you know. Vladimir Putin and left-wing Chilean left-wing people will tell you that Vladimir Putin is from right-wing, so he's a fascist. And that's why not to support Russia. But look what happens. A right-wing politician like Vladimir Putin is fighting against everybody. He's fighting against NATO and US, you know. So everybody have to support the BRICS, Russia, China, anything. And that's it. Chile doesn't exist. And the left wing here is even worse, you know, making this type of critic. You only have to see the reality. Putin is fighting against the NATO. Anyway, now I'm gonna try to read a little bit. Five members of the G7 group have formed an alliance aimed at blocking Russia out of international nuclear energy market. The US, UK, Canada, Japan, and France reached the agreement to the sidelines of a G7 meeting in Sapporo, according to a joint statement shared on Sunday by the British government. Yeah, this was not so interesting. I'm not gonna read this, but this looks like this is a consequence of the geopolitics. And we have another news from Russia Today that says US economy crashing Trump. America is a failing nation that is in decline, the former president has said. And that's interesting, but Trump is I'm gonna use the same argument. Trump is for the far right wing, and maybe he's just saying this because he lost, and you know, he lost and is a bad loser. And maybe Vladimir Putin also is saying that, telling us this news because they are right wing. Bitter criticism. Yeah, maybe Chilean left wing have some reason, and Russia Today is just a right wing news. I don't know. And it's pretty hard to find a news now. I'm trying here, but I'm over the 47 minutes. Stalin against the Jews, how the Soviet dictator lost his last fight. This is interesting, I guess. Maybe I have some time to read this last news. And it says, 80 years ago, the Georgian strongman's death brought an end to persecution of the religious minority in the infamous doctor's case. Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin's purges targeted at groups of his perceived rivals are a unique historical and psychological phenomenon, as well as the subject of considerable research. In the 1920s, the Georgians indiscriminately eliminated political competitors from opposing parties and classes. Former White Army officers and workers of the Tsarist military-industrial complex. In the 30s, he went after internal party opponents, the entire leadership of the Red Army, and the NKVD, forerunner to the KGB. Fortunately, the terror was briefly halted during World War II. They almost told the name of Trotsky, isn't it? Almost there, but was not this case. Well, I have no time to read this, but this is interesting because it's like Vladimir Putin is defending Jewish, and not exactly Trotsky. Well, maybe I'm reached the bottom of the Russia Today, isn't it? Maybe it is a right-wing journal. Maybe it's a right-wing journal that just can't say the name of Trotsky, for example. And I'm so sorry about the world, because Trotsky was the better. Trotsky was Jesus Christ now. Just kidding, but yeah. People, the world still not prepare for Trotsky. What you say? What you say, world? What you say? Do you have a minute to listen about Trotsky? No.